Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I always schedule it for 11:55 because I don't know if I put midnight if that'll change the date and stuff like that. So I'm really only 1 minute late.
Yeah,
I was driving home on the LA on the Southern State,
Southern State.
the airport to the belt to the Southern State to the
I remember it.
and there's traffic, construction traffic. And yesterday there was like 4 car accidents. I didn't get home till like 12:45. My wife was calling me up like, "Are you okay?" But I was like, I got to avoid this. I just got to take the CIE up to the, up to the Long Island Expressway to avoid the Southern State. And I just forgot. I listen to YouTube channels while driving, and I get into it, and I just forgot until next thing I know, I see the red lights and everybody's stopping. So that's why I didn't even take a shower yet from work. So I'm covered in my own plaster dust and metal filings. So how are you guys doing?
I'm okay. I was in Greensboro for 3 days. Throughout on a deployment. We call them deployments. Put in new APs and switches for this college place so they can have the best internet money can buy.
Oh,
so they will get really good internet, as a matter of fact. And we do a good job at that. So I'm kind of tired, and on the way back, I stopped in the city to fix something.
When you have to stay, it's like in a hotel overnight for work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get extra money?
Yes, about $59 a day. It used to be more. It used to be 50. The company I am in was so lazy, they didn't want to calculate it because it's supposed to be half money on the way up and half money on the way back because you're starting off at home, right, or coming back to home. But we used to get the full $59 because they didn't want to calculate it. We got a new system, so now we don't make as much, but we still make money doing it, especially if you stay more than one day.
So I work with the guy. I work with a guy who, he lives in New York. He lives by me, and whenever jobs end, and sometimes you got to work. I've been fortunate that I haven't really had long periods of unemployment in my 22 years. So, but he sent me a website, and it's all IBEW work throughout the country in Canada that you could go to. And he says he loves them. He says he's like bringing home like $4,000 cash a week.
Yeah, you can make when I stayed over, the first year I was here, we stayed over for 2 months. So we stayed over all week, go back Friday and a weekend, drive back. It's like Clemson, so it's 2.5 hours from here. And I did that. It was tough because it's like 100 degrees in Clemson, South Carolina in summer. But it made a lot of extra money, and I also got free hotel points. Like I had my dad stay for free one Christmas, and so there's a benefit to doing it if you don't mind doing it.
Hugh says this
stay one day at a time, though.
One guy was telling me they were in like nowhere, Wyoming, and they had Conex boxes to set up.
Yeah.
The Conex box was broken in half, and he lived in one room, and his father lived in the other, and they just worked. And during the day, they would have maids come and clean the house, and then they would have Conex boxes that were cafeterias. So he said you didn't have to leave the compound. He says, but it just gets grueling after a while.
Oh, yeah, you get tired. Like, I'm ready to come home even after a couple of days. I know the guys who do it week after week, they have a tough time keeping you because you're away from your family. And so they get some real young guys, and maybe they don't have families, And they do now, it makes more camaraderie for this. They get Airbnbs because that's a little cheaper, and they all stay in one spot. And then these guys bond a little, so it's a little easier to do.
That's exactly what he says. They stay at Airbnbs, and he says they have a washer and dryer.
Really good guys,
But one thing I learned 2 jobs ago. This was about 4 years ago. Arkham, I don't know if you know this, Tony, but there's a whole subculture. They're called fleas, and what they do is they go from job to job to job, and they put down tax exempt, and they just make cash. You know what I mean? And then when the government catches up to them, they flee and they go someplace else. And these guys, they just get like as much money as possible. They live on the jobs, like they don't have any homes, they don't have any families.
Off-gridders kind of people.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're in New York working at an airport, doing work, and we're paying all our taxes and doing everything properly. These guys are like, 10 years ago, I'm making like $4,000, $5,000 a week, and then leaving. You know what I mean? And then who knows where they go? But I imagine nowadays this whole flea thing has got to be over with. The government's got to be able to catch it.
Yeah, you know what's stopping them? It's called ICE.
Right. Well, they're
Charlotte.
Well, then you can't do that with a union job, can you? Because you have to be vetted to get into a union job.
Citizen, and
not at a union. But if the people hiring them, like there's all different vendors at the airport. It's not just the electrical company. It's all, and if somebody's underhanded, they save a lot of money not paying taxes on them and not paying medical on them. They save tons. Your medical might be worth more than your hourly pay.
I imagine that they get caught up sooner or later. There's no way they could keep it going.
It used to be bigger, like under the table pay used to be bigger than it is now.
Yeah, but
I agree. I just hate I don't know if Trump or anybody's talked about this. Do you remember when Biden changed the tax code for digital payments from anything over, I think, what was it, 1,400 or something like that? You do have to put your taxes on. Anything below a certain margin, you didn't have to write off in taxes. Now it's like as low as like $300. If you get that over in one transaction, you have to file it. I'm like, that's bullshit. If I got a comic I bought for $250 and I had to flip it for $300, now I have to pay taxes on it? No. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But like I said, I haven't. I'm
gonna sneeze.
They said that the fleas were big in the 70s, and they started to die out in the 80s. And every once in a while, you see them. But there's all these stories. They all get caught up, and I think they like go to these guys like have no problem going to jail for 6 months. You know what I mean? And when they come out, they still have all their money someplace.
I think the modern equivalent would be going and picking up guys at Home Depot or in the corner of Mount Kisco next to the railroad. You could always pick up a day worker. I mean, they're cutting that down right now, but that was a big thing for like regular non-union construction.
Yeah.
Not that you wouldn't not pay taxes on the guy, but you're picking them up for a day work. You need a laborer.
But I was looking at if because you never know, you could get laid off at the drop of a hat on this job. Not that I don't want to be a flea. I don't need to get into trouble. Like, who did we lose?
We lost Arkham.
But if like right now, there's a job for an Amazon center, and it's 7 days a week, like 12 hours a day. And the funny thing is, if you do all 7 days, you get a $600 bonus.
I had a friend who worked at the Amazon Center, in New York. He had a tough time.
This is building it. This is building it and powering it up.
Oh, there's building it and working for the Amazons now. He's not packing stuff. It's a pain in the ass. Interesting.
And not only do you get, and then you get a per diem, because you got to live there. So you get a per diem, you get pay, and then you get like 5 hours overtime every day, and then a $600 a week bonus. I don't know.
I do that. I would do that now. I don't have kids to be at places. I wouldn't mind doing that. My wife doesn't care if I'm home anymore. We've only been together like 35 years.
He says it's all a bunch of guys who don't have kids.
It's hard when you have kids.
Or their kids are adults, so it's all gray hair.
Right, my kids are adults.
Yeah. So anyway, I was just filibustering until everybody got here. I don't know if Arkham's coming back. He just dropped out.
Oh, I wanted to say hi to him. I didn't get to say hi.
But let's. So tonight's topic, Tony picked it last week. So I figured we don't. I realized as I was making the stream that I never really said what the rules are. So I don't even know what the rules are. But I figure, how about we all? Well, it was good for a minute. We all had 5 people. So we all pick like a villain from Marvel. And then we all pick a villain from DC. And then we'll all pick like an independent villain. And then we'll just have like a battle royale. Is that fine? What do you guys think of that?
That's fine.
All right.
Villain from like where? Like from movies?
Comic, Marvel, DC, and then independent comics. We're gonna keep it.
Remember a villain from the
independent channel. We'll keep it comic. So Logic, you didn't get to say anything yet. You want to pick a villain?
Okay, so I am a classic Marvel fan. So if we're talking Marvel villains, I have a lot that are my favorites. But if I have to pick one, if I really, really have to pick one, then I gotta go to Magneto. Um, whether you go, whether it's Magnus, which was the original version, or the reboot, which has lived on since Claremont, Eric Lensher, Magneto, because putting aside the whole good guy arc, which to me makes zero sense, but
Yeah, I agree.
Magneto, he was he was seen as evil, but he really wasn't. His thing was, I mean, he kind of was, but he really wasn't. He wasn't cruel. His thing was he believed mutants have more power than regular humans, so mutants should not try to live with humans. Mutants should, if nothing else, rule the planet and control things and just dominate things. So, and he was steadfast in that. He believed in what he believed. He put mutants above all else. He had no problem in killing humans to achieve his goals, but it wasn't something that he actively sought about doing. But he had no compunctions about doing it. So his dedication to his, if you want to call it, quote, villainous ways or his evil ways, he was unwavering. To me, that that to me is my number one. Like we
Okay.
can talk about my number 2 and 3 later, but that's my number one.
So Magneto is a good classic villain. I disagree. Magneto's evil. There's no if or buts about it. He's evil.
So you're talking about the Magneto around X-Men 150? Because like before the Claremont's X-Men, he was really seen as just he was Magneto was a powerful guy. He show up all the time, but he was just a guy taking over the world. He was a mutant, but it wasn't developed that he went Homo superior, Homo all that. And then when he got turned into a baby in the Defenders. They took that opportunity to kind of deepen his personality when they grew him back up.
Right. He was
not the new one. Not before they started. They made him a semi-hero.
Yeah, for the longest time, Magneto was just like a raving lunatic.
Right, that's what I mean. Right, and a lot of that's the danger of all these villains. Right, they all become raving lunatics.
Well, he that whole like Homo superior stuff, like you said, I didn't think of that until you just brought it up now. But yeah, it's almost like when he was reborn. What was that? Eric the Red, like.
They just it was like the backstory. They did that. He was in the Defenders, and he was just a raving lunatic, and they just shrunk him.
Yeah, not Eric the Red. Eric Lensher. Eric the Red is a CR agent.
Well, Eric the Red was an agent of the Shi'ar. Yeah, he's the one that used the I forget the name of the magic's power to age him and de. He turned him into a baby. How did he stop being a baby? I forget that.
I have to look at. I think that. When did they redo it? Because when the Neil Adams stuff, and he was in Savage and he was losing his powers. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like the Neil Adams, Roy Thomas, he was just like in a different. Well, because Adams used different costumes, but he wasn't as strong there. And then when he got really powerful is when they powered him when they turned him back. I think that's a flashback scene in the X-Men. I don't think they did it. I knew he got depowered in the Defenders.
Right.
I'd have to look it up.
Maybe I'm racking my memory because on Sundays I've been doing all the original new X-Men, and Magneto showed up once and he was just a raving lunatic villain, but he already had aged back out.
But you're coming up to that one where he was really difficult to beat. You're coming up to that soon.
Yeah, the Savage Land. That's such a great.
It's Savage Land. Oh, that's the best.
But good pick, Magneto. Magneto is a great villain.
Yeah, he is. No, he is a villain. I'm not saying he's not a villain. What I was saying is he was not after Claremont. He was no longer a one-dimensional raving maniac lunatic. He's a villain. He's a villain. He's not good. I don't like the whole him and Xavier are best friends, and he made him the executor to his will, and here's my school and my money. No, I don't like that. Just
No.
keep him what he was, a straight villain, evil, a monster. I like him as a monster.
Yeah, that's a good pick. What a great villain, Tony. You got a villain for this team?
For Marvel, yes. The Rot Shadow, better known as the Red Skull.
Oh,
That's my dad's favorite. He loves the Red Skull.
Yeah, Magneto and Red Skull are really going to get along.
Yeah, right.
I wanted to pick the most irredeemable, probably one of the most iconic villains that Jack Kirby ever created. There's nothing good about him, but he is so damn iconic. You know, the mask, what he is, you know, and he's very, very radioactive. You know, people don't like to play with him too much, and when they do, they kind of play with him with kid gloves, you know.
Do you remember his original origin? I'm sure, Mark, you remember the greatest origin in the history of comic books.
Yeah, he was a bellhop. Actually, he was. Yeah,
I only read that story a billion times.
Yeah. He was. His mom died in childbirth, and his dad tried to drown him. And he grew up to be a horrible person. A Jewish girl took pity on him. He tried to grape her. I hate to use that kind of stuff, but I don't want to screw up this John's stream. She fought back. He killed her. He liked it. He got a job as a bellboy. When Hitler was berating, I think it was Heinrich Himmler, maybe. I forgot. It's been a while since.
I have a story right back in the closet over here.
Yeah, he was yelling at somebody in the SS, and he said, "I could make that bellboy there the greatest thing ever," you know. And he got close to him, and he saw the hate in his eyes, and he said, "I will train you. You will be my pupil." And he trained him, and then he also trained him. He also had the SS train him, and he was trained in essentially what he was unlike somebody like Captain Nazi. He was a terrorist. That's what he was. That's what the mask was. See, Captain Nazi in Wiz Comics was blonde, blue-eyed, perfect. He was meant to be the example of
the Aryan race.
And this guy, he's just an ugly mask, psychological warfare. He was there to just kill everything and destroy everything.
Right.
And and his first costume, God, you can't get any more on the nose than this, was a green jumpsuit with a giant black swastika.
Most of the time.
But
I could see the panels of the comic because I had the Captain America Simon and my mom worked at a bookstore. So when these comic Simon and Schuster books came out, I could get them. So I got the Captain America reprints, and I read that story a million times. Jack Kirby and Chick Stone and Frank Goya and Captain America's trustled up, and they're pulling the water on him like they're waterboarding. I'm like, these are pretty dark comic when you like. I'm just a kid. You're like, oh, Captain America, but it's really a dark comic when you read into it. And then he's just sitting there like this. Okay, I'm telling you my origin story for almost no reason before killing you.
Right.
Of course, that was a mistake.
That's what a villain he is. He's monologue.
It's so great.
He's the Red Skull was Hitler's bellboy.
In the 40s, he was drawn really much nastier than he's drawn in the 60s, because the Comics Code used to make Kirby or Lee and Kirby clean him up. There's picture of a cover where he looks really like a skull, and they had to tell that's too scary for the kids. You gotta clean him up.
I actually like the Kirby redesign. That's where he has more of a nose and all that.
Oh yeah, well that's why they did that. Oh, he got the Cosmic Cube. He was the first one with the Cosmic Cube. Like all these, he's like the least powered guy who manipulated everything around the Bucky, bringing back Bucky. That they used him as the fulcrum. His mind's going from place to place, killing Sharon Carter in the 70s and early 80s.
And I remember
Grunwald didn't use him that much to the end.
Mm-hmm. I remember
Reborn in his own in Captain America's doppelganger's body.
It was the Gruenwald run. Yeah, I remember Acts of Vengeance, and that's what
Yep.
introduced me to the character. Well, I'd known about the character before because my dad's a massive Captain America fan, but that's when I really read the character, and what I loved was the interaction between Magneto and him, because Victor Von Doom hated him because he was a gypsy or Romany. I don't know if you're allowed to say gypsy anymore. Sorry.
You see
And,
my channel.
Goodbye, channel. Well, it's really late. Nobody's paying attention.
he hated him for that, but the one that really hated him was Magneto because of Auschwitz. So I remember at the end of it, Magneto trustled him, beat the crap out of him, put him in a bunker with a little bit of water and a little bit of food, and told him to stay there until he dies. And what was the funniest thing about that was,
Don't move until you're dead.
yeah. And the funniest thing, he was actually this close to being sorry. Like he was this close to seeing the light, doing a heel turn. And then he got rescued by Crossbones. And then we're back to school.
Crossbones. That was a good character.
That's what I like. That's what I remembered. But yeah, Marcus reminded me. He was killed off in the early to mid 80s. He was already an old man. The gas was running out. So Gruenwald decided to put him in a cloned body. So essentially he is Captain. I don't know now. I mean, continuity is so wacky.
Right.
But when I knew him, he had the super soldier serum in him.
Well, he used that ability to move from body to body. And I don't know if he really had the ability, but I think who was the guy who wrote that when they brought back Bucky with Steve Epting? The last great run of Captain America, like unbelievably that they came out. They used that where he was in like the main Soviet guy's mind, and he was manipulating everything from behind the scenes. Right. They could do a lot with him.
The only thing I remember about him now is they put him in the mind of Donald Rumsfeld. Remember that? He was like Donald Rumsfeld.
Was a liberal.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with him now, but I bet you he's got orange hair and he's talking like this. We're gonna make America great again. Yeah, I bet you that's what they're doing with him now. But
except in real life, James Carville looks like the Red Skull.
Yes, he does. He does.
But it is interesting. For the longest time, he was just a normal human.
Yeah, that's what was so great about him. Well, not great. He's a Nazi. Yeah. But that was what was so interesting. You had Captain America, who was basically a superhuman. I don't know what his level was, but obviously he was faster and stronger than the normal human. And Red Skull was essentially a terrorist. He would fight him with bombs and robots and guns and all sorts of stuff like that. And the only thing that made him special was he was long-lived, like Steve Rogers. He was still in his prime. That was about it. And then he got the cosmic cube, and then, well, he was God for a few issues, and then,
Right. And then I have some holes in my Captain America collections. I must not have that, but I remember him saying that he was basically like he took his mask off and he was Steve Rogers under the mask because he's a clone of Steve Rogers. Yeah,
that was the Gruenwald run. He had blonde hair, blue eyed. He was Steve Rogers, and then he had the Dust of Death, which was the thing that Kirby.
I remember that. That's kind of like the Joker dust.
Yeah. But he had it in his cigarette holder, right? And he was gonna use it on Steve, and then something happened. I forgot what it was, and he ended up biting down on it, and he inhaled it, and it didn't kill him, but it shrunk his head and gave him the Red Skull.
They had the Cosmic Cube, and they had these great battles, which every artist just ripped off from Jack Kirby.
The Sleeper arc. Remember the Sleeper arc with the giant?
Yeah, the end of the Sleeper arc.
Oh man, it was.
He lost the Cosmic Cube, and he got it back. And what happened? This was in the early '70s. That Gene Colan was doing when they created the Falcon. Red Skull created the Falcon, and so he switched minds. He had the Cosmic Cubes. He switched minds with Captain America, and Captain America is now in New York, and he's like walking around like he's, Captain America's very humble, and you look up to Captain America, but now he's like the most egotistical human being in history because he's really the Red Skull and nobody knows it. And he's really enjoying this. And he put Cap in his body, and without the mask, he was just a regular guy with dark blue hair, like Cap, and stuck on this island. And he befriended Sam Wilson, who was also on the island.
Yeah, he was on the island.
Sam Wilson.
He was on the island of stereotypes.
Yeah, and then they created the Falcon with that awful green costume,
Yeah.
And you forget Marcus, he created BLM about 40 years before BLM was created. There you go. That's
right. Well, I was reading it because I reread all those books in this a couple of times in the showcase in the essentials, and like the early Captain America's. Oh my God, talk about the Falcon's girlfriend's calling everybody a honky. I mean, this was worse than Good Times, and she's got the big Leela's got the big Pam Grier haircut. And she's really nasty. And Captain America's like, hey, I'm just a white guy trying to get along with these black guys. And it was all this urban stuff, and he was so out of place because nobody knows what to do with Cap. And they want to establish the original DEI was trying to bring more people in. The stories were better.
I remember Leo.
A little less agenda than now.
She had the big afro, she had the midriff exposed, and she had short shorts on, and then the top button was always unbuttoned.
Yeah, or she had the giant belt buckle. Remember that?
And then the same with Jim Wilson, the Hulk's black sidekick, had the same exact girlfriend.
Oh, you could tell that they were bringing these things in because they had to divert. I mean, they really did kind of have to do it. And Marvel was known for that in the 60s. Their backup characters, they have a 3 policemen, 1 would be black. That would never happen in DC, right? They kind of had to do it, but it was still ham-handed. It's kind of like, hey, kids.
They did it good under Stan Lee, but then Roy Thomas and under his tutelage, it was just like so ham-handed, people.
Yeah, a lot of them. Well, the writers were.
It seems like there's a cycle with Stan Lee. It seems like there's like a cycle of reverence, and then there's like, he was a carnival barker and he stole from everybody, and I get we just left that phase. Now I think we're coming back to like, Stan Lee really was a genius because. Look at all the Jack Kirby stuff after Stan Lee. It wasn't written as well.
No,
Jack couldn't write like Stan. And pretty clearly, like a Wally Wood and a Kirby was talked into is that they were really writing the story because they were coming up with the ideas, the plots. Stan, I think early on, did come up with the plots with them. But after a while, if he could trust the artist, he'd let the artist do it, particularly Jack Kirby. But he gave the characters depth because of his dialogue, and sometimes it was at odds. Like the Him saga and FF is completely at odds. Like Kirby was drawing something else.
Marcus is that why Monica Rambeau, when she became Captain Marvel, is that why they gave her that big old 1977 Studio 54 disco afro?
Yes, because John Romita really loved Pam Grier and Grace, what's her face?
Grace Jones
at the time, and he really kind of merged them together and gave him the big fro.
God.
The only reason why they created that Captain Marvel is to keep the Captain Marvel name.
Right.
That's why you do. DC, that's what DC didn't do.
Okay.
I got to admit, in the first appearance, what was it? Spider-Man Annual. I forget the exact number. Annual 16, the first Monica Rambeau as Captain Marvel. There's a scene where she's on the boat and she takes off bikini.
Oh, I know.
She's still the sexiest black female character ever made.
Oh, yeah. That was unbelievable. Yeah. John Romita did it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But they all kind of looked alike. Like Misty Knight. They all had the same haircut and everything,
You heard it here first. Tony Grigo thinks all black women look the same.
In the 70s, they all look like Pam Grier.
Right. Well,
hey, that's nothing bad.
You know what? Pam Grier, the older I get, the better looking Pam Grier. Like I never watched Pam Grier movies as a kid. I didn't have access to them. Those were dirty movies. You know what I mean? And so really the first time I saw a movie with her was Foxy Brown.
Oh yeah.
And I forget what year.
I remember when I first saw Pam.
And she was putting on weight. She was. I hate to say it, Pastor, but man, I thought she was sexy. She was. Of course, I went back and watched all of her other books. I'm like, man,
the first time I saw it was in Fort Apache, the Bronx. with
Oh, I did
Okay.
see that.
Ken Wall and
Yeah.
Paul Newman. Yeah, and that's how the Bronx
Yeah.
really is. Of course, if you know, that was pretty close to the truth.
My friend is
It
in that
was
movie.
back then, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My friend's father was a cop, and then when he retired, he tried to become an actor, and he was always cast as a cop. Did you ever see that commercial where, hey, Rose, you want my Coke? And the football player takes the Coke, and then he throws the kid the
Yeah,
jersey.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
At the beginning of
Rosie
that commercial, there's a cop that opens the door. That's my buddy's father. So
Oh, nice.
he got cast as a cop in Fort Apache. And my friend Paul was a little kid, and he's
Okay.
playing cards in one of the, and he wasn't supposed to say anything, and he just wanted to say, so he said, "Give me that," and he pushed the other kid, and they left it in the movie. So
Huh.
my friend
Nice.
Paul, and tied into my comic books, he's the one who made up the character of Magnum, who's going to be a main
Oh, okay.
character
That's
in
cool.
all my
I
comics.
first saw her in Black Mama, White Mama. Did you guys see that? I
No,
love that. One. Yeah, she's escaping from a woman's prison, and she's like handcuffed with that white chick, and they had like a thing going. Yeah, I love that title, Black Mama, White Mama.
yes, I
Yeah.
never
Tony.
saw it. Yes, I know about it.
Tony.
And
They keep
the
have
bringing in
topic is
and
fascinating, but I love these little tangents. It makes the conversation fun.
Tony, have
Yes,
you
sir.
ever seen Caged Heat?
Oh
Oh,
God,
yeah.
yes. Oh yes, and she was
Yeah.
in that. I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah, buddy.
I don't
Yeah,
know if I've
buddy.
seen that one.
Well, it was Pam
John.
Grier, and then when I was a kid too, Sybil Danning was the big one. She was.
Yes.
Oh, Sybil
I almost did a
Danning.
comic with
Yeah,
Sybil Danning based
yeah,
on one
I
of her
Okay.
movies.
forgot about her.
Marcus, you're forgetting Adrienne Barbeau.
Well, yeah, I don't
Oh,
put her in the same B movie
There's two
category.
reasons.
She was on
There's
TV
two
for so
reasons
long.
to never forget
But she's
Adrian
awesome.
Barbeau.
Oh,
Yes, two reasons to never forget Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah,
in the early '80s, John Carpenter was one of the luckiest men on earth.
she's another one that I didn't even know she had a face until I probably hit around 45. And I, your taste change. When you're a little kid, it's just like the obviously beautiful girls or whatever. But Pam Grier, man, I still think she's sexy.
See,
Adrienne
you know what?
Barbeau,
You know what we're talking about here? So to Pam Grier or Sybil Danning, Adrienne Barbeau. When we were kids, well, I'm old, so I just turned 60. So I really grew up mostly in the 70s. In the 80s, I'm in high school. I graduated high school and go to college. And you couldn't get porn, right? It was really hard. Like you
No
would see
pun
if your
intended.
dad had a Playboy, you found him in the there's always a story everybody's found him in the forest, right?
Right.
And all that. And what could you get? You couldn't rent them from the movies. You were just hoping to get a Pam Grier movie where you could almost see something and maybe one popped out. You know what I mean?
Well,
And that was like it was more fun, right?
kids, youngins watching this is how bad it was in the 70s and 80s. That you watch Benny Hill and you
Oh
lied
yeah, that's right.
movies. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
Benny Hill.
was awesome.
My Jewish grandmother loved Benny Hill, by the way. He was Jewish, so my grandmother loved him because she watched Channel 13 in New York was Channel 13, and
Yes, sir.
she loved him. But yeah, that's where you watch Benny Hill. That's exactly why I watched it.
And then
now
you
all
got
this is
cable
wide
TV.
open.
And if you hit the 3 and the 7 at the same time, you got the Playboy channel, but everything was wonky and you're
Wobbly,
like,
that's right.
Yeah,
Or you can
the
then
wavy
you graduate
lines.
to Skinamax,
the wavy lines. That's right. Just to
Yeah.
watch the porn
But-
through the wavy
But now
lines.
it's so easy. So the reason why, and there's one of the reasons why, like Sydney Sweeney's a big deal, is because she harkens back to that time, and it's so easy to see naked women and all sorts of awful anything you want to see, you could see without getting specific on the internet from age 5 up, and so they don't cast hot chicks anymore because they don't need to make movies with hot chicks. You can see them anytime you want, all without clothes on. Oh, I'm going to go to the movie and see like Gal Gadot is the last hot chick or something,
Yeah, I mean that listen, Marcus, that's true, but I think that the driving force behind that is all this woke nonsense. Like they would
Oh
rather
yeah,
have
well that started then too.
flat. They'd rather have skinny, flat-chested, barely attractive women. In fact, barely attractive skinny, flat-chested women who were just angry, man-hating, lesbian
Well,
super dykes.
they don't have good looking guys either though. They don't have masculine, heroic Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, James Brolin's son guys either. They don't have any of those guys. Even like
You know what?
James Brolin's son is like 55, or Matt Dillon even, like they don't have anybody like that.
Okay.
It's Tim Chalamet, who's a fine actor, but he's not the most masculine human being in the world.
I think
Marcus,
people
think
like
about
Sydney
this.
Sweeney because
We don't have.
I was going to
No,
say
no,
people,
John. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney, I think, is a big deal because she's unapologetically happy about being beautiful, and like she was on Saturday Night Live, and I expected her to be like making, but she was dressed up as a Hooters girl and smiling and flirting, and she comes out with the chesticles, you know what I mean? Like she's just unapologetic, like I'm hot, and
Right, exactly. But we used to have that all the time.
And now she's just like, I did a commercial, and you guys want me to? I'm not apologizing either. And then her brother's in the Air Force. Can you imagine being Sydney Sweeney's brother in the military?
Oh,
Every
wow.
guy must be
Oh,
like,
God.
give me his sister's phone number.
He is.
Does she have a cousin,
He
you know?
gets it every day, and you know it.
But I
Oh,
find
but,
it refreshing that she takes joy in that she's good looking.
Well, she told off that woman interviewing her too, trying to make her apologize. She's like, "Well, I have some ideas about it. I'll let you know."
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney said, and she actually went on record. She said in an interview, Sydney Sweeney said she knows that she's young, she's sexy, she's hot, and she has a very short shelf life. So she is capitalizing on her sex appeal while she can, because she will age out very quickly and very young in Hollywood. And she also said that women in Hollywood stab each other in the back. They don't have each other's backs. So she's doing whatever. She's doing ads, she's doing products, she's doing TV commercials, she's doing everything she can now while she can to capitalize on her sex appeal. And I respect her honesty, because at least she's honest. She's honest about it.
Yeah. Like one thing that got me mad was Scarlett Johansson was just like, all my early roles were for the male gaze. Like, dude, if you didn't look like that, you'd be a dental assistant. You know what I mean? Be thankful that's what you look like. Yes, you got those rules.
They say that stuff to make sure they get roles, though. I don't know if they really believe it.
Scarlett Johansson, like, that just makes me, and Clint Eastwood got the roles that he got because he looked like that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Clint Eastwood was in a second in the original Creature of the Black Lagoon. He just played a lab assistant. He turned around and goes like, "Here," and he handed somebody like a beaker. He was all that you could watch in that split second. He is that charismatic, and he was a movie star before he was in movies. Should he apologize because of the way he looks? You know what I mean? It would be ridiculous. So Scarlett Johansson, you got that job. I'm sure there's, because you're not really that great of an actress. She's fine, but like there's so many other female actresses that can act circles around her, but they don't look like her. So Scarlett, nobody believes you when you said that. It makes you look stupid. Shut up. So when she said what she said, it made us like her even more. We're like, finally, honesty. What's up, Tony?
Oh, Sydney Sweeney's latest movie tanked because they made her ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
that's
Ruby Rose is old man. She's
exactly.
Ruby Rose was like, she wanted that role, and it's like, she's like, and Sydney Sweeney caused it to bomb. It's like, Ruby, your last movie made, no joke, $238, $2,387 in the movie. It opened up in one theater and it closed one night.
Ruby Rose can't act at all. She's awful.
She was okay in John Wick.
She's really bad as Batwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she
Really
didn't
bad.
say anything, John Wick, John. She was okay in John Wick because she literally did say a word.
I was gonna make that joke, but then I stopped.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gentlemen. So getting back to comic books.
Yes. So we got this team that started the fight already. We got Magneto and the Red Skull. So Marcus, who's your pick?
Well, since we're going on the high powered, I was going to go with Dr. Octopus. but I don't think he's powerful enough for this. Although I think he's really overlooked at this point. At one point, I thought he was really the most dangerous Spider-Man villain, more dangerous than Green Goblin. But that's on a Spider-Man level. But if you're talking about this, I'm going to have to say Thanos.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go somebody else.
No, I'm saving somebody. I know what you might pick, so John. So I don't want to say that guy.
Okay.
I'm not stealing
I have a
somebody
huge
from you, so I'm going to
question.
say Thanos because I was just looking at that stuff, and like Thanos, we always talk about the big, powerful, but when he was less powerful and he was drawn like as big as the Hulk, he was manipulative. I read this blog about 70s comics, and I had him also. It reminds me of him. Like when he was in Warlock, he completely manipulated Warlock and Magnus and all that stuff. So he was just as cunning as any other villain before he got he was super powerful, but he wasn't super powerful. And he's involved in that Marvel 2-in-1 and Avengers Annual, which may be the two best annuals since Spider-Man Annual 1.
I'll say that those are two of the best superhero comic books ever made.
Yeah, and so, and not only super powerful, and he had the Cosmic Cube as well. We can make a couple of Cosmic Cubes, and then the Red Skull and Thanos could go back. He's just as nasty as he was having an affair with Death, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
I like
realistic, dark character is Thanos.
The MCU definitely ruined that character.
Of Apocalypse.
Yeah, the MCU Thanos actually does not do service to the comic book version of Thanos.
They wanted to do it. They wanted him to do that. They were setting it up for that, but then they got nervous and pulled back because that is really dark for a movie, And so they pulled back. They had Death in the movie. They were set up for that. They were introducing Warlock and all that, and they changed midway, I think.
Yeah, but see, I really have to say this. I don't like the way that they did Thanos in the MCU, because they took the Infinity Gauntlet, they took Infinity War, and they took some Adam Warlock stories, and they mashed them all up to make that gloop that was that movie. So they had bits and pieces, and they mixed and matched.
Yep.
So, but we never got the real story, because we never got Thanos with Mistress Death, with all the heroes on his space asteroid satellite thing, and then we didn't get Galactus and the Celestials and Lord Order and Master Chaos and Eternity. We didn't get to see Wolverine killing Thanos. We got none of that. Instead,
I agree.
That,
well, they couldn't use Wolverine at that time. They couldn't use Wolverine at that time anyway.
Yes, they could.
Not when they were making those movies. They couldn't. They can use him now, but they couldn't use him then.
You know what?
I agree. They made Thanos into a dummy. I do agree. I think that they were just like, this is too scary for the average American.
That's what I think too. Yes.
That's
why I agree with John. Yeah.
His name means death. This is a guy who's in love with death, and he's a cosmic serial killer.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that might be, and I'm not giving him a pass either. I'm just saying that might be the reason why.
I think so. I think that was, but they made him a crummy villain. Like, you had infinite power, and you think you're going to save the world by killing half the humanity for what, 30 years before everybody, you know what I mean? If you have 2 rabbits in a cage, you're going to have 900 rabbits real soon. You know what I mean? It's like,
exactly, because that's not the reason why Thanos did what he did. It had nothing to do with all things have to be perfectly balanced. And I don't know what half-assed wannabe writer came up with that nonsense. The reason why Thanos did what he did it to please Mistress Death. Mistress Death gave him a task, and in order for him to please her, he said, "Oh, okay. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to erase half of all life in the entire universe." That's why he did it, and he didn't even do that as his end goal. He was doing that to try to please Mistress Death. He wasn't even going to stop there.
Right, to get her attention, or to get a good boy, an attaboy or something out of her. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Where,
think they wimped out. I think they wimped out on the mistress death part. But since they did things so much far worse after, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I
the
agree
other
with
movies are so much worse. At least the story was okay, you know.
Mark.
They're bringing him back. I hear he's in the Doomsday movie.
I don't know what. Yeah, I you know.
Great.
I am not
Whatever.
going to see that. I'm on record right now. I'm not going to see
I
it.
don't care.
I
I'm not
refuse
even.
to be gaslit. You can't gaslight me because anytime someone says, "Well, my expectations are real low, they're in the gutter," if I have to lower my expectations, then why am I wasting my time? I refuse to be gaslit. I will not accept crap simply because it exists. To each his own. I'm not that guy. I will not give my money
I
to
don't get
support
that
that
idea.
nonsense. It's not happening.
To get back to Marcus about Thanos,
Yeah,
I like the Thanos before the Infinity Gauntlet too. Like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of referencing.
That's what
I
I
mean, I
grew
don't
up
mind
with.
Infinity Gauntlet, but I think by Infinity War, I mean, it got to be too much, right?
But what I liked
it was
about
a
Thanos,
different story.
like Marcus said, was for the most part, I didn't even know what his powers were. To the point when he did come out and go toe to toe with Thor, it was like a shock because he was a master manipulator behind the scenes, and then you find out he could back up. You know, when all else fails, Thanos could go toe to toe with the Hulk and Thor and all these guys, and then even like the energy type guys, he could blast them with beams, stuff like that. You're like, oh wow, because he led an army, he schemed, he got this guy to fight that guy. You know, he really was like probably the most dangerous next to Galactus in all of Marvel.
Oh, also, can I take this quick segue to highlight for those who don't know, Thanos is an Eternal,
Right?
and
Yes.
That's right.
nothing like that garbage MCU film, which is Eternals in name only. That film has absolutely nothing to do with the Eternals from the comics. Nothing, nothing beside the names. Thanos
Right.
is also an Eternal because there were two groups from Eternals. There was an Eternal civil war. The ones who lost the war went out to their base on one of the moons of Jupiter, and the ones who won the civil war stayed on Earth. Their first group of descendants are the 10 that we know as the quote unquote Eternals, led by Ajax and Icarus and Makari and so on and so forth. But yeah, I couldn't stand that.
Yeah.
Movie.
You know, they changed Kirby. Who are these arrogant people think that they could change Kirby? So that just
Exactly.
drove me nuts. They're not servants of the Celestials. And to me, the biggest, most
I didn't
egregious
see that movie,
thing with
so I
that
don't know.
movie was the deviants. The whole purpose of the deviants is that each deviant is its own species. You know, the only common trait that deviants have is that they can breed with each other. You know, one of them's an octopus, totally normal looking human. One's half elephant guy. Each deviant is unique unto itself.
Right.
So what they do, they use one CGI model for every deviant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they were also fully sentient. They were
Yeah.
fully sentient because they came from humanity. The Celestials came to Earth. The Celestials they created the Eternals and they created the Deviants. So they're
Right.
literally mutated humans. But again, that's why I couldn't stand that movie.
Well, I didn't see that one.
And it was weird. They took a Japanese character, Jingo, and they made him Indian.
Oh yeah.
That's just the minorities. Who cares? You know,
Kingdom.
make up another one.
Kingdom.
You know,
That actor, that Indian actor from the Eternals, he's going to be Booster Gold.
really?
Yeah, did you hear about that? Yeah,
No.
he's going to be Booster
No.
Gold.
Oh, at least I saved myself. I don't know. Go to the movies with my wife, and then we always go out to dinner.
Well,
so
if they make any of those movies, they're going to fire James Gunn soon.
we save them. Yeah. The prediction that I heard is that Snyder's coming back.
Oh, that's even worse. At least you can see the characters. James Gunn, the Snyder stuff, you can't see them. It's the The
I
movie's
heard
just
he
so
just wants
dark
to
you
come-
can't even see the features of the characters.
I heard he just wants to come back to do the Dark Knight Returns, and then he's going away again.
Oh, okay.
He just wants to make the Dark Knight Returns, which I think he could actually pull off. He's good at it.
That's what he could do. His
Material.
movies aren't awful. They're just dark, and
Mhm.
they just don't understand heroism. So you can pick from this movie a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and then make something decent. They weren't as much fun. Like the current Superman movie is fun at the very least. You know?
I know people don't like this Superman movie, and I'm not going to argue with people. But to me, I watched this Superman movie, and it was a random issue of the '90s Bwahaha Justice League, with a little bit of flaws. You know,
I highly, strongly disagree. It took me 5.5 hours to get through that movie. That's how badly it hurt
Well,
my
I
head.
think that says
I
more
could
about
not
you,
believe-
actually, to be honest with
And I walked away. That is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God, it was stupid beyond dumb, but whatever. Listen, to each his own. To each his own.
I gotta say, and like, I every time I talk about that, I gotta bring up the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four, I think I was just relieved to see Kirby-esque type stuff.
I didn't see the Fantastic Four.
But even though all four of them were completely miscast, you know, and the so I don't know, there was stuff about the Fantastic Four movie I liked, but more than I think about, I think it was just that I was just like, okay, a Fantastic Four movie that's kind of like Kirby. But anyway, let's go back to the villains.
Yeah, I didn't see the Fantastic
Marcus,
Four.
I thought you were going to pick Doctor Doom.
Well, I know that you're going to pick Doctor Doom.
No,
so I
I'm
wanted to
picking the
pick
Absorbing
Dr.
Man.
Doom.
The Absorbing Man?
I
You
love
said that's your favorite. I said, well, I'm not picking Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom's an easy one to pick, too.
but Doctor.
Wait, John. John, you're picking Creel, the Absorbing Man?
Yeah. I have a theory that every comic book fan is a champion of a character of a lesser known character. Like Doctor Doom to me is the greatest supervillain ever created. But I love Doctor Doom. But there's something about the Absorbing Man that I'm like, he's mine. You're like I don't like when other people like the Absorbing Man. I know it's irrational, but I love it. He's so freaking powerful. And one of the things that I really liked about him was he always had, there's some real dark and sinister things about him, especially in that Avengers 203, 201. He just like grabs that girl and starts, he's like, dude, what are you doing? You know, like that's really, really creepy. But what I did like about him is later on when Norman Osborn started organizing all of the villains, he was like, no, I don't join groups. I'm not. And then later on, out of like self-preservation, he joined like a small resistance group to fight against like being conscripted by villains. I just like, he's just like, I do what I want and I don't listen. And then his powers are so freaking cool. Whatever he touches, he becomes. And like he can absorb physical attributes. So if he touches steel, he becomes living, moving steel. If he touches water, he could become liquid water. Like at the last resort, if things go bad, he could just turn into air and disappear. Things like that. But he could also absorb like abstract things. Like he could touch a skyscraper and become big. You know, he could absorb. Yeah, he's so powerful. I mean, he could fight the Hulk to a standstill. He could fight Thor to a standstill. He fights all the Avengers to a standstill. What's that?
The Absorbing Man once touched Mjolnir and absorbed all properties of Mjolnir.
Right.
Yeah,
well, he is as Guardian, like right. He was created by
Loki.
Yeah, just Loki. I thought it was Enchantress and Loki. You know,
I think it was just Loki.
Yeah, so he it makes sense that he could absorb the Uru hammer.
John. Again, I stand by my pick. My number one is Magneto, but my number two is a very close number two, just for me. Sebastian Shaw, the Black King of the Hellfire Club.
Yep, a detestable person with a really cool, very powerful power.
Yes.
Whenever I play my role playing games and I really want to mess up the players, I give them a villain with that power. And man, they just have a hard time defeating some. He can absorb. For those of you who don't know, Sebastian Shaw, the Black King, he can absorb kinetic energy, and he can basically turn it into strength and invulnerability. So the harder you hit him, the more powerful he becomes. So there's only a few ways to defeat him. And I love that Cyclops figured it out. He just shot on the ground, and so he would just fall to the ground just to get rid of him. He couldn't defeat him.
Yeah.
He's a very powerful.
Those X-Men didn't defeat anybody mostly, except for Proteus. They got their butt handed to them most of the time.
So who should be the fifth then? Who's the fifth for this team? This is a powerhouse team. Holy man!
I got one, but it's one that very few people know unless you're familiar with the run, and he is ridiculously overpowered. Mad Jim Jaspers.
Oh yeah, he's
essentially a male Margaret Thatcher that gets reality warping powers, takes over the world, puts all the heroes into concentration camps, just does the most horrible stuff imaginable.
Like Margaret Thatcher did. Just Margaret Thatcher did. She put everybody in concentration camps.
No, that's Alan Moore. Alan Moore's like, ooh, the conservative, ooh. Let's give it conservative superpowers, reality warping powers.
If that's what they would do, that's what they would do. All right, so let's move on to DC then. Tony, go ahead. Pick who's your villain from DC.
Okay, I'm going to pick somebody from the Golden Age that is criminally overlooked, and people don't really talk about him too much. Vandal Savage.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
In the modern age, too.
Yes, he's a 1 million year old Cro-Magnon man that basically is invulnerable, immortal. You can't kill him. You literally reduce him to ash, he will regenerate. He's trained in every method of armed and unarmed combat. He knows every language known to man, dead and current. He fought under Genghis Khan. He fought under Alexander of Macedonia, fought under Napoleon, fought with the Nazis. The man. I mean, if you look at it from a certain thing, like the Joker, Luthor, they're the big ones. But Savage, I always thought was the most dangerous because he's the most long-lived. He's basically history itself.
And he has. He's been a cannibal. Like he'll do anything that it takes to survive.
Exactly. And he started off as a Green Lantern villain. He became a JSA villain, and then he became a Flash villain due to Mike Baron bringing him back as a Wally West villain.
Did he get his powers from like a meteorite or something?
Yes. What it was he was leading a hunting party 1 million years ago, or more like 50,000 years ago. But and he meteorite fell from the sky, hit right in front of him. Everyone died except him. And then he realized that everyone grew old and got sick, but not him. And he just stayed the same. That's why the way he used to be drawn in the 40s, not anymore, but in the 40s, he was sort of a brute caveman with the simian shelf and, hairy knuckles and pronounced teeth,
Well, now he has access to good barbers.
It was also the founding member and leader of the first supervillain team, the Injustice Gang, back in number 33.
Yes, the Injustice Gang.
That's a good pick. Logic friends, who are you going to pick?
General Zod.
Oh, so
he is the embodiment of what a villain is. He's a master tactician. He's a soldier. He's a leader. He's a commanding general of the forces of the planet Krypton. He's evil. He's cruel. He's malevolent. He's violent. He's a megalomaniac. But he's always a brilliant tactician. And if we're staying true to the comics, and not the movies, and even not the cartoons, Feora is the monster that the gruesome monster that people think General Zod is. Feora is the one who gets her hands dirty doing the actual bloody, gruesome work for General Zod, while he sits back and manipulates and controls everything. He never wavers. He never questions himself. He never doubts himself. He's evil. He's evil, and he will do any and anything, and he will sacrifice anything and anyone in order to achieve his goals. To me, as a character, he is a perfect villain.
Right? Didn't he and Feora have a child in the Phantom Zone, and he sacrificed that kid?
I don't recall that. I don't recall that. I do know Feora hates men. The only man who she respects is General Zod, who she gives blind, unwavering loyalty to.
Well,
She did. I think she had a husband, but she killed him or something.
I remember in pre-crisis stuff, it was revealed that Zod used a early example of Luthor's duplicator ray and tried to take over Krypton with an army of Bizarro. I remember that.
Wow. Okay. Yes.
Marcus, who are you gonna pick?
I guess I'm gonna pick Gorilla Grodd.
Nice.
It's
Well,
DC
that's-
Comics.
that's
It's Gorilla. I was gonna pick Sinestro, but I don't know enough about all the colored lanterns. Like I read a lot of Rebirth and stuff, but all the colored lanterns I don't know enough about. It seems kind of that seems kind of cool, but very deep to like get into. Like there's a lot of different comics. So I like Gorilla Grodd because he has a lot of the same things as General Zod. He leads a whole city, and if it were up to him, he'd take that city and take over the world. And he can. He's the gorilla who's a super smart, super scientist who can speak all sorts of language and telepathic abilities, as well as being super strong. The Flash could never beat him. He'd have to trick him somehow.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have to get Zavatar to help him out. He was done pretty well on TV too because he's Gorilla Grodd. It's hard to mess up,
Right.
And just Gorilla DC Comics and gorillas. I mean, it's the way it goes.
Yeah.
He was the most powerful telepath in DC. I remember
That's
that.
right. I mean, he can do anything. I think, one thing I say about the DC villains, and I was just looking them up again, and I see all the pictures. I'm looking all mean and nasty, and Thanos doesn't look like Jack. We know the artists who did them in going up till now. They're almost too dark and mean. Like the Joker's drawn too dark. Or Jason Fabek, he's too nasty looking. They're all kind of really dark. Like they're not fun, and I think Gorilla Grodd can still be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hated Gorilla Comics. Like, I hated Gorilla Grodd. I gotta say, like the past 20 years, I've grown to like Gorilla Grodd. I like Gorilla.
Well, it's a DC thing. If you're a Marvel guy, Marvel didn't really have gorillas, but that's a Julius Schwartz thing. Like every year, they'd have gorillas, talking gorillas all over the place.
Yeah, listen, I am a classic Marvel guy. I never got into DC Comics, but when I was a kid in the 70s, my mom gave me, we would have, in the 70s, we had this thing, it was a coloring book, and in the back of it was either a 45 or a full-size record. So then as you were listening to the story on the record, you were coloring the story in the coloring book. And the very first one I ever got was Batman Goes to Gorilla City to fight Gorilla Grodd. I've loved him ever since.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, But he's immensely powerful, and he's immensely smart and manipulative, and he's really hard to defeat. It's the same thing. It's the telepathic powers that you talk about, John, all the time.
Yeah.
DC had some great gorilla villains. There was him, Monsieur Mala from Doom Patrol, of course the Roy Thomas version of the Ultra Humanite, the iconic albino gorilla. Yeah.
Ultra Humanite. Something about him is terrifying to me. If anybody watched, I was on Yang Zhao's channel and we talked about Lovecraft stories. I didn't realize it when I was making my list of favorite Lovecrafts, but they all involved identity switching and a consciousness taking over your mind or something. That is like the scariest thing. So the Ultra Humanite to me is DC's scariest villain. Like
I don't think they use him enough.
no. He's terrifying.
And it's like Hugo Strange, like all those 40s, they do use them a little bit more. But there was that untalked 80s Batman used all those villains before Dark Knight, and it wasn't really that bad comics. I know it wasn't. It is now,
But just just think of like his powers is basically a Gilligan's Island episode. Vincent Price swaps him.
yeah. Well,
but to do it in a scary way, really like Lovecraft. All of these people wake up and they don't know where they are. It really would be a terrifying. You find yourself in a cage in a gigantic gorilla. What's going on while he's in your body. Things like I think it would be a great horror story.
I also think in DC it's so easy to say, well, Lex Luthor and the Joker, and we always overtalk them, and they're characters unto themselves as big as the heroes. So like, these other ones are more like a recurring villain that's just as dangerous. And I don't think Joker's all that dangerous. He doesn't have superpowers. He's just, people can just draw him super crazy. Everybody likes somebody who is mentally ill. But like Gorilla Guy could take Joker and he'd eat him for lunch. He'd literally eat him for lunch. He'd saute him.
I know.
I know you don't like the Joker. He's overdone.
He's overused, and I don't know.
He's overused.
But he is the greatest. Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the Joker is the greatest supervillain in comics ever made. He is basically one of the two pillars that DC has, the other one being Batman. Without the Joker, DC would crumble.
I do think that the Joker
might be true, but he's overused, right?
Yeah, I have to admit he's one of the best, well-known, best-selling, whatever metric you want to use. I just don't like him.
But they didn't use him in the 60s for years. They didn't use him until they used him in the TV show. They didn't use him from 62 to 65, 66. They didn't use him at all.
Because of
those, not Two-Face, not Catwoman. They introduced Poison Ivy, and that's it. Like, they didn't use any of those villains. It was just all one-offs.
Marcus,
the story where they killed Alfred, and he was like the outcast or whatever that guy, outsider. But they didn't use him for years. It's kind of weird.
So I'm just going over because I lost track. We got Gorilla Grodd. Who did you pick, Tony?
Vandal Savage.
Vandal Savage. Rod, who did you pick? General Zod. Okay, I'm picking just one of my favorite villains, Anton Arcane.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Swamp Thing's main villain. He started out. He's basically like modern day Victor Frankenstein. He's just an arrogant, half sorcerer, half scientist.
He is a modern day sorcerer.
And what he wanted, he made the unmen. He experimented on these people. The famous one was just a head on a hand that was just crawling around, and he just made all of these. He had a freaking castle in the Bavarian mountains. He was just everything, like a captured Swamp Thing, and he wanted to put his brain in Swamp Thing's body. Again, identity swapping. And because he saw Swamp Thing's body as indestructible, he didn't want to die. Later on, Alan Moore kind of said that he knew he was going to hell, so he wanted to avoid that. And then when he finally does die and go to hell, he's so evil that the demons just like, hey, you want to be a demon? And they promote him to a demon, and he comes back as a demon. He's just and he doesn't want to take over the world. He's so petty. He wants to mess with Abigail and pursue forbidden knowledge, and that's really it. And if he just left Abigail alone, Swamp Thing wouldn't fight him. He's just like General Zod is like a galaxy level threat. He can command. He's Superman. He can command legions. He's got tactics. He wants to overthrow planets and insert his dominance and whatever. Anton just I want to do forbidden experiments. He's basically, that kid who just pulls wings off of flies and puts salt on the slug. That's what Anton Arcane is. Just, unfortunately, he wants to mess around with Abby in a real dysfunctional family relationship.
Rick Veitch really expanded on that character. He was the one that gave him that entire backstory of him being best friends with Hitler in World War One, and him working with the Nazis and all that stuff. Yeah.
He was secretly behind Mengeley's experiments.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
One of the creepiest scenes ever. Swamp Thing goes back in time to the Civil War, and the Civil War, the doctors killed just as many people as bullets. And Swamp Thing goes into a tent, and there's Anton Arcane with a saw cutting off a guy's arm, and then there's the guy looking at him. There's no anesthesia. The guy's just, and meanwhile, there's another arm sewed onto the other side. So he's got two arms over here and no arms over. And Anton's just like, what? He's just sadistic and twisted. He's so petty. What are his powers? He's a genius. He kind of knows a little bit of magic, and he's, now that he came back as a demon, he's got some demonic, unexplained abilities. But I think even the rest of the group would be like, why are you here? We don't even like the Red Skull is the outcast of the Marvel group. I think Anton is the outcast of the DC group.
Oh, everybody hates the Red Skull. That's what I loved about Acts of Vengeance. The Kingpin hated him, Loki hated him, Magneto hated him, Doom hated him. Everybody hated him.
Yeah. So who would be the fifth then? Anybody from the chat have a DC villain that we could throw in as the fifth? I'll wait a couple minutes.
John. Yep. Marcus gave me a bit of an idea. Why don't we could do a show, a list of villains who are lesser known villains, like only like even die-hard comic book fans would say, "Oh, you know what? I kind of forgot about it."
You like the Signal Man or something like that. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Rocket Racer.
That Rocket Racer, yeah.
Mr. Mind.
Death Wheel.
Nihilus, yeah.
Right? Isn't the Death Wheel the guy in the big yo-yo looking thing?
Yeah, that's right. That's funny.
Yeah. All right. So
there's a million of them. Yeah.
So anybody got another one? If
well, you could just pick Lex Luthor. I mean, obviously. I mean, you got to pick somebody. Parasite. Actually, the Parasite from Superman.
Okay, Parasite.
He's a really powerful villain.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the tough group. We'll go into the indie comics villains.
Yeah, this is a tough group.
Anybody want to go first?
What do you mean by indie comics, though? Like not Marvel, DC, like
anything not Marvel and DC.
Okay, like anything from the Golden Age or from Image or something like that. Okay,
yeah. As long as it's not Marvel and it's not DC.
Malbolgia.
It has to be comic books. Malbolgia from Spawn. Okay, that's good. Tell us a little bit about Malbolgia.
He's one of the ruler. Oh, man, my Spawn knowledge is crap. I know he's a Lord of Hell. He's the commander of the Spawns. He's the boss of the Violator. I'm probably the worst person in the world to ask about that.
Why'd you pick him?
I had such. I mean, he kind of threw me a curveball. I'm mostly Marvel or DC. I mean, there's. But let me pick another thing. Let me.
Is he the leader of Hell, or is he just like one of the more powerful
ones? From the 30 issues that I've read of it, he is the one of the leaders of Hell. Like, I guess Todd McFarlane's Hell was like Dante's Inferno, where it was like levels of Hell. And I think he's the lord of one of the levels. I know he's the one that's in charge of all the spawns, because it's not just one spawn; it's several spawns, armies of spawns, legions of spawns, and they all have the same costume variations and the same powers. And then you have I know the Violator has 3 brothers. They were created by Alan Moore. Off the top of my head, I don't remember their names, but the Violator himself, the clown guy, was the nastiest and the meanest out of the bunch. And I guess he's Malbolgia's chief lieutenant. And that is all I know. Yeah.
Okay. Zach Dan's calling for my characters. My character. Plus Moxie would just bring the group down.
We could do that, but I don't.
Plus Moxie would just cause the group to fail. He's just a loser. So Logic Finest, do you have a villain you want to pick?
If we're talking indie comics, honestly, not really. I have never been big into
I have
indie
one.
comics. I'm not. So I really have nothing to really contribute
Okay. What do you
on
got?
that respect.
Golgotha. Remember the Torch of Liberty from John Byrne?
Okay.
That one
Yeah.
that he did, and he was a Nazi villain. He's the weapon of Hitler. Like, you'd always go for a good Nazi villain. All sorts of superpowers. Let me see if I can find him. And he battled at Danger Unlimited.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he also battled John Byrne's Heroes Trios, which are and Triple Helix, which were really lame that he created way later. But he had energy. He allowed to do things like fire destruction, energy blast. John Byrne has to have a reason. He had access to immense energy reserve. He had from his mechanical hand, project force fields, fly through, fly using his energy blast. So basically, like a super Nazi. But he looked so cool. You look him up. He's like cool. I forgot how cool looking he was.
Could you bring it?
So
Could you get a picture of him, and I'll share the screen?
Let me see if I can find one.
And while you're doing that, my indie villain is my favorite indie villain of all time, from the Elemental.
I'll find one. Hold on, and
Lord-
I'll put it in X.
Wait, John,
Yeah.
I thought about it. I have
All right.
one for you.
We all got to stop
It's
interrupting
from-
each other. I was in the middle of talking.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When somebody's talking, wait for a natural pause. So, go ahead. Go ahead, talk. Logic.
No. Go ahead. You're right.
Lord Saker from the Elementals. Lord Saker was Marcus. You're familiar with the character?
Man, I don't read it too much. I am pretty familiar with him.
So Lord Saker may or may not be Lazarus from the New Testament, but his origin was a preacher, in the Levant, was gathering a following, and then people started to doubt him. So in a display of power, he rose the dead, and this guy came back from the dead. I mean, I don't know if Bill Willingham, he was referencing Jesus, but I don't know if it was supposed to be Jesus. But anyway, this guy now found out that he couldn't die. And he just lived and lived and lived. And over the time, he amassed arcane knowledge. And what he did was he found a way to trap natural magic energy. So like somewhere around the Dark Ages, when the Enlightenment period came, there stopped being magic in the world. Why? Because he was clogging it all up. And he was basically making a weapon of mass destruction of supernatural proportions. And what did he do? He released it on the world, and now just crazy things are happening. Insects are turning giant, just chaos throughout the world. But here's the thing that really makes him so he knows sorcery. He consorts with demons. He learns all this. He's a wizard. But he also found out that the elementals got their powers from dying and came back to life. In the elementals world, you get your superpowers from dying and coming back from the dead. And he was the first one to do that. So what did he do? He posed as a televangelist, and he recruited like 10,000 people, and then tortured them all and killed them all. And 6 of them came back from the dead with superpowers. He's just a detestable, world-conquering, evil villain, and he's so evil that the spirits of the world created the elementals to stop him. He was a world-class threat. Just D&D, like this comic inspired my comic. When I say this, D&D, Bill Willingham was one of the original guys who did Dungeons and Dragons posters and artwork. So, and he played, and then he had a hand in making the Village Vigilantes game that I based my comic on. So he is there any wonder that my comic is like this from Bill Willingham's right. Now I'm starting to ramble on and on and on. But anyway, Lord Saker from Elementals. So, Logic, what were you gonna say? You picked one.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, because it's actually from a indie comic, sort of. I was just gonna say Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon.
Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
that qualifies as a comic. It was a comic strip. Yep.
I just came up with one too.
Well, we need 5, so let him talk about Ming the Merciless first. Then we'll go to your other one.
Well, Ming the Merciless ruled the planet Mongo. He had tech and he had magic. He was a sorcerer. He was evil. He was cruel. He killed everyone. He tortured people. He ruled with an absolute iron fist. He was the absolute worst of any kind of a ruler, and he had no mercy for anyone. And he was just the pure personification of evil. And he saw Earth, and not the movie, but in the strip, he wanted to control Earth, and of course take Earth's natural resources. And he was against. He was trying to crush the rebellion of the other kingdoms on the planet Mongo that wanted to overthrow his rule. So he's just evil in all manners.
Right. He just wanted to conquer Earth. Like he was a world conqueror, right? He didn't have any other. It wasn't like what was it for resources, or was it just like there's free humans over there that I must oppress?
A little bit of both, but not what the movie made it seem like. Like he wanted to strip mine the planet to nothing and then throw it off as a husk. Originally, his thing was he wanted to conquer Earth because his thing was to increase the size of his power and his domination. He wanted to just conquer planets. So Earth was just the most recent planet that he set his sights on that he wanted
Okay.
to conquer. And then, of course, use whatever resources, but it was to conquer it, to control it, to subjugate everyone.
Okay. Now, do we have a 5th one? Anybody?
Thulsa Doom.
Okay. Also Doom.
He's a lich. He's extremely powerful. He's extremely intelligent. He's probably one of the last survivors of Atlantis. He's unkillable.
Oh,
There.
that's right. I'm because he's different than the movie.
Yeah, and the Howard stories and in the Marvel comics, he looks like Skeletor from
Right.
Masters of the Universe. Yeah.
He was from Cole's time, right? And then
Yeah, he first fought Kull, and then he was repurposed to fight Conan by Roy Thomas.
okay, yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good one. All right, so what do we? We got Team Marvel, Team DC, and Team Indie. I don't know the Jasper one. He's got like that ultimate godlike power, but he's too crazy to you know what I mean? Like, would he just come out and kill everybody, or would he just come out and toy with everybody? I could see him like creating like an alternate world where everybody's in concentration camps, but like Golgotha and Lord Saker, I don't think they would just be like, listen, this is just like petty magic. I could see, or Gorilla Grodd would just shut down his brain. What do you guys think? I'm talking too much already. You can tell I'm getting sleepy.
Jasper's was insane, and his powers affected his sanity. And that the crazier he got, the more extreme his powers got, the more abominations and atrocities he committed. So maybe Grodd could shut him down. Probably, I guess. But the minute you had to be careful with him, because the minute he'd get his senses back, he'd probably melt Gorilla Grodd. I mean, remember that this is a godlike level here. He's like Proteus. He's like the Beyonder. He's that level of power.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I'm trying to think. Like, I could see like Magneto with, I don't even picture him like squaring off, but like, and I could see like Anton Arcane like basically warning everybody that this guy Jasper is the one we got to really worry. Like, what's the Red Skull going to do? You know what I mean? Like, as much as I'm trying to think of the fighting, like Magneto would just come out swinging. I forget we had Magneto. Oh, the Absorbing Man is a powerhouse. You know, I could see the Absorbing Man like swinging, hit somebody with his hammer, and he could absorb their power. So just imagine he hits he hits Gorilla Grodd and becomes telepathic. You know, he really is more powerful than people give him credit for. Guys in the chat, what do you think? How does this fight go? These are like vastly powerful, and just think about General Zod. Okay, so
is Thanos more powerful than all of them?
I forgot about Thanos.
I mean, well, maybe not Zod, because I don't know if Thanos, being a Marvel character, is as super strong as, say, Superman, which is Zod's powers. But if Thanos has the either Infinity Gauntlet or the Cosmic Cube,
I forgot about Thanos.
Over, right? The problem with Thanos is that he's always defeated because he's stupid. He does something stupid. He defeats himself, and they never defeat him.
But I mean, I could see, like, you know, General Zod has the power of Superman, but he doesn't have the ethos of Super. So right. I could see him just like, I'm trying to think. We have Anton Arcane. You know, I could, you know, General Zod, Gorilla Grodd, Savage, Vandal Savage. I could just Vandal Savage. I could just be like, Zod, kill them all. Don't give me a chance to react. You know what I mean?
Well, they wouldn't stay in teams. They're all such narcissists. They'd all fight each other.
Yeah, I know.
They would say.
That's why I didn't want to put Dr. Doom on that team, because like Dr. Doom would be like, I'm in charge, you know, and then like I'm not following no Nazi, and then, you know, Magneto and Dr. Doom would kill, you know, Red Skull.
They eat themselves, you know.
And as they were fighting, the rest of the team, but I could see like. Does Golgotha have? I forget. Is he just a powerhouse? Is he like?
He's just a powerhouse. I put a picture of him in and I DM'd you a picture. There he is. Yeah. I thought he was just so cool. I had to connect him. Look at that.
Right.
That's a great character, right?
And Noah Byrne is probably Hitler's skull in there or something.
Oh well, he has a reason for something. Like, has a little Hellboy going on. There's a little Doctor Doom going on in there. He's got no shirt, you know. Yeah,
it is a good character. I'm trying to think. Maljaboa, geez.
Well, yeah, I did some reading about him, and
I wanted to talk about that. I forgot to put that because we put. What about the Psycho Pirate? Speaking of didn't he start out in the Golden Age? He's immensely powerful,
right?
So much so they make him go crazy and put him in a home.
Right. We'll talk about him in our lesser-known villains talk. That's a good talk.
All right, well, let's keep that in mind. Yeah.
He's a perfect example.
He's not. He was a big villain in the Justice Society, though, with Jeff Johns' Justice Society.
Well, that was the first Psycho Pirate. The first one was just a criminal. The second one, where everyone knows, the one with the mask.
The one with the mask. He's really dangerous.
Malbolgia is one of Hell's many rulers, of being from the 8th Circle of Hell. He commands the Legion of Spawns. Yeah, like I said.
Another thing, we can talk about Marvel DC's version of Satan.
Exactly. So
that's a whole other level, like Mephisto.
Yeah, I would put him on the level of Mephistopheles. Yes, and he had access to the spawns. So I mean,
leader of Valhalla. So I could see him like going off with Thanos, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe somebody like the Absorbing Man could go toe to toe with the General Zod.
Oh yeah, he could, because he just absorbed General Zod's.
And then the Parasite, right? We forgot the Parasite's in there, like
a Parasite.
I'm trying to think who would be the leaders of each group.
Not the Parasite or Absorbing Man; those guys are morons. But
right, yeah, they're kind of Red Skull would want to be the leader, but would they listen to him? Magneto would not be the leader.
Thanos would try to be the leader of his group, definitely.
Right.
He's a natural leader.
I think Magneto being smart enough to let Thanos think he's the leader,
I think that's exactly how it goes. Because Samus is not quite as smart as Magneto, I think.
I think the skull would team up with Arcane, and Savage would be in the back trying to usurp power. But I think the leader would be Thanos. Maybe, yeah.
So one thing about all
I think
these
that-
villains is that they all trip themselves up.
Right.
You know, the hero doesn't always defeat them. Once in a while they do.
Because I could see in the middle of the fight, Anton Arcane, Red Skull, and Vandal Savage teaming up.
Yeah, just turning on everybody.
Right. Yeah, because they're horrible. And Saker, I could see him just being like making a deal. Well, he's already on the same team with Maljibo, but like he would like,
Well,
I could see him like joining that little other team and seeing who would win. I don't know. What do you think, Logic?
I think that what Tony said would apply to all three groups. Everyone thinks they should be in charge, but every group is going to have one guy who calls himself letting the other guy think he's in charge, while two guys team up to try to usurp the other guys or to implement some other side goal that they have. Because I don't see any of the groups having one leader or working together as a team. I see them doing the same things in a specific fight or a specific instance, but they don't seem like the kind of guys to team up and work together.
I could see like they all like again fall under Thanos, and then the DC like they fall under a Zod, but I could see like maybe Thanos mentally dominating Jeffrey Japp. Like, is he strong-willed? Like, if in the face of somebody like Thanos, Jasper is as powerful as he is. Like, does he have like an indomitable will?
He has something that I just remembered. Right, he creates to help him take over the world and to kill all the heroes in the 616. He creates an android by the name of Fury. And if anybody wants to pull it up, Fury, Alan Davis, you'll see. He's this really unique looking purple thing. It's a unique design. And basically this robot is walking plot armor. He can't be destroyed. He's like the Terminator. And he basically kills everyone, like Captain America, Spider-Man, Doom, Iron Man. He kills them all. And Jaspers is the only one that can control him.
Oh,
so that's the wild card right there. Jaspers is the wild card. Yeah.
I just keep wondering, like, could Gorilla's Grodd like dominate him?
Possibly, but again, you're talking about a mentally ill man with the powers of a god. I don't think Grodd could go in there and not lose himself. It's one of the better things that Alan Moore wrote. You know, it's a shame that Marvel has not reprinted it.
All I can think of is they all just like fight each other, and like Anton Arcane, Saker, Vandal Savage, and the Red Skull just skip off.
Probably,
you know what I mean? And like we'll come back.
Self-preservation, they leave, right?
Yeah, and let these guys like. What's the Red Skull going to do when Maljibo and Thanos are destroying planets, and Zod flying and, I don't know. I like all these characters, but, Golgotha just turns and follows the Red Skull.
Oh, yeah, well, they become friends.
Right? He just turns around and they naturally team up. They're like,
hey, I know Hitler. You know Hitler too, right?
Yeah, do you see what I see? Let's go. Yeah. So I don't know who what team do you think wins? I kind of think the DC team wins.
I think the DC team wins.
I think Gorilla Grodd could create enough distractions. Zod is just powerful enough to fight, and then next thing you know, Jeffrey Jaspers is about to do something and the Parasite gets him.
Well, what would you think? Where do you think Arcane's allegiances would go? Do you think they would go with Malbolgia because Arcane is a demon,
right?
And Malbolgia is a ruler of hell. So to
be honest, I don't think he matters. He's not powerful. I just love him, but like okay, so you betrayed us, okay,
Mhm.
what I don't know. I think the parasite is really okay. Doesn't matter what your powers are. Now you don't have them anymore.
Okay, how about
Yeah,
this? The parasite sneaks up behind Mad Jim Jaspers and takes his power.
Well, like Gorilla
that's
Grodd
it.
engages him, distracts
Mhm.
him a little bit, and then Zod,
But-
the tactician, take this freaking guy out. Now he's just a guy in
Exactly.
diapers, right? Is he
Exactly.
have diapers?
Well, the Gorilla Grodd may be able to stand out there like the puppeteer and use his mental powers to manipulate everybody around, and then be strong enough to go toe to toe with what's left.
Right.
Or the absorbing man tangles with the Fury. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember him now. Yeah,
and what happens when the absorbing man touches the parasite?
wow, that could be a it's kind of the same thing, right?
That's
Yeah,
like
I think-
crossing the stream.
Chaos, man. You'd have a godlike madman and a ruler of hell that would probably open up a portal to his dimension, flooding the place with spawns. And you'd have an Atlantean necromancer probably partnering up with
Oh, I forgot about those.
or something, and then you have the Mongolian army somewhere in the background doing something. It would be chaos. It would be complete chaos.
I don't know, but I don't know. I think DC wins, and I'm not the ruler over here. Logic. Who you calling? Which team do you think wins?
Well, of course, I'm partial to Marvel Comics, but
Right.
with this group gathered here, I think I have to agree with you. I think the DC guys win.
I mean, unfortunately, DC is just more powerful overall. I mean,
I think
You
so.
know,
Yeah, I think so.
Marcus, what do you think?
I think DC wins. I
And
think
Tony,
it's closer
what do
than
you call
usual. I think it's closer with the villains than it is with the heroes.
Tony, what do you call it?
Yeah, I think Grodd could handle Jaspers. I think, and with Jaspers out, the Fury is out. Again, there's some wild cards there with Malbolgia and whatnot, but I think Grodd would be able to be on top of it. Yeah.
And I do think it would be because they're villains. They would break allegiances, and other teams would form. It's kind of fun to speculate. This is the kind of stuff I like thinking about.
Right?
But how about next week? We'll do that. We'll pick our favorite lesser known villains. The criteria is you have to honestly think that nobody else knows about these villains.
Oh, I have one I'm thinking of right
You know
now.
what I mean? So like if you want to pick I don't
But
know.
that one,
Yeah, don't say it now because then they know. But
No, I'm not saying I have one right now.
like if I'm just gonna pick a lame villain for the hell of it. Like I already said, Signal Man. So if you think Signal Man, like nobody else on the panel would know Signal Man, then and we'll take each other on the honor system. If you do know that character, be like, yeah, I know that. But like, you know what I mean? You get a point if nobody else on the panel knows who your character is, just to make it fun, We'll do that. We'll pick our top 5 lesser known or unknown villains from comic books. We'll stick with comic books. Comic strips count too. Oh, and then I can't help but picture this battle takes place on Mongo, and Ming the Merciless is just pissed because everything is destroyed. I forgot about Ming. He calls in his armies, but then Thanos calls in his armies, and then the spawns all show up, and who else has armies? A bunch of Nazis show up. It's just like Ming is just like, can I turn this planet around, go back into deep space? Wasn't that the plot? Wasn't Mongo coming to Earth?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes,
no.
I think
Mongol.
so.
All right, so
Mongol
that's what we'll do next week, guys. I got to get to bed. I want to wake up early. My goal is to have half the comics by Sunday, and then by next week to be completely fulfilled. It's slow goings this time because just my work schedule just sucks the life out of me. But that's that. Heroic Tales 2 is still available on Fund My Comic if you want to pick it up. Patriarch number 1 is going to be my next crowd fund, and Renzo already did the layouts for the first 10 pages.
Don't show us. Don't show us.
No,
You're
I'm not showing the
terrible.
layouts. Yeah, I'm not showing the layouts. But he's going to have like 5 pages done. But it's 45 pages, and if he
Well,
could
that's
do
a lot of
5 pages a week,
Jesus.
and then I have a couple of extras. So, we
Be
could
a
have
big
that.
book.
This will every comic I think is getting better and better. So this one is going to be so much better than Heroic Tales 2.
Okay.
So Marcus, anything you want to promote? Anything you want to say?
Okay. Well, I have something to show. I think Logic's Finest will like this, and it kind of harkens back. We talked about Pam Grier earlier today. This is a character from Fred Guillemont's comic. He was on the studio last week.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a homage to that Arthur Adams Storm that floats around.
Yeah.
Nice.
that Black
Marcus, that is
Medusa?
very nice, sir.
It kind of fit into our earlier conversation.
Yeah.
He is a Black Medusa character. So,
Yeah.
And I
Cool.
went to the studio tomorrow, and I don't know who we have on. Some manga guy, really manga guy, not even like fake manga, like American manga. So it's gonna be really difficult for me to see what I'm gonna draw.
Oh, cool.
We'll see.
Cool. Tony, anything you? Oh, at 7:00 tomorrow Eastern Standard Time. Don Draws Stuff is the name of the channel.
Yeah, Don draws. Well, thank you. You don't have to do that. I understand that.
Yeah, well, you got it. If
I-
you're going to be on there,
I appreciate that, John.
you got to let
I
people know where
just-
you're going to be. Tony, wait. What about anything? You wanna,
Go watch Don draw stuff and go buy Heroic Tales.
there you
That's
go.
it.
And Logic, anything?
Heroic Tales. Pick up the next Heroic Tales and check out Marcus tomorrow night on Don
Cool.
Draws.
There you go.
Thank you, Logic.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to
Appreciate
bed. Well, I'm going to take a shower, then go to bed. I still got metal filings. All
I'm tired. I'm shot.
right. Good night, everybody.
All
Thanks
right,
a lot.
good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.